Okay. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Hello, everyone, to another lecture. All right. I think it might be a short one because it's been a very long day. Very intense day for me today, but God bless, everything worked out fine. Okay. So, to start this episode in some manner, all right. So, dear viewers, I had some deep ideas. I was like, all right, let me try to give a lecture. The title came, I don't remember how exactly I wrote it, but to talk about all realities within an unknown one, to speak about all realities, or all realities are found within an unknown one, right? To talk about all realities found within an unknown one. So I find myself very privileged because I get to be the first person, one of the first people to do this in history in this manner, in this time, in this moment. I have often wondered very deeply about what does it mean that life is real. That sentence when I was younger was very easier to ignore, but after 12,000 days of constantly resimulating in reality, it has come to my realization not only the cognitive dissonance or wishful thinking that humanity lives through, but that the nature of the intelligence that we are is way more complex than our thoughts. It's another way of saying that I am, as one human being like your other human beings. Yes, I do understand human beings are the most advanced species among all the other species. Animals are not conscious, they will die at some point in the future. Human beings are. The burden that humans carry is the awareness of the deeper workings of reality, really. So it's magnificent that you're a human being and live with great honor. And if nobody honors you, or if you can't honor anything in the world, you can always honor the human idea. I have found solace on the ideological level with many realities that in some sense, if you tell me what kind of reality we're in now, I can give you such an interesting answer you've never heard before that you're going to be like, wow, what we thought was just one modality, which was the standard of being, is actually no longer just one mode. My fellow human beings, the ultimate realization is this, especially when you hear the sentence, all realities found within an unknown one. This whole lecture is me talking about that sentence, really. So, to continue, I find myself, my personality, who I've been so far, it's here. Okay, right now in this moment, all my memories, all the ways I've simulated in reality are here. But there is also an awareness to these simulated realities, and anybody who can organize their mind and memory, you in some sense are beyond mind and memory. You are the awareness that organizes it. We have come to that very interesting moment where human consciousness is awakening from its self-simulated sphere of meaning. Every person is born like this. Like, see, I firmly believe that there's two ways to look at life. And in these two ways, don't think in both ways. It's like both ways are devoid of truth, no. Or one way only, no. See, when you look at this world, first let's do an easier problem. Like somebody's like, how do you look at reality? That's a very deep question, right? So to be honest, actually, if somebody asks me about reality, I'll be like, okay, how do you see reality? Or how far have you seen? But if I was truly to, in some sense, surpass my own limits, I would begin wondering about, okay, in these 12,000 days of like, yo man, another new day, another new self, in all these 12,000 days of life, what have I realized about reality that surpasses what I want life to mean compared to what life is? And it took me a while to understand, like, I don't know how to explain this. Sometimes you look at a human being and you're like, yo man, that human being was shy, humble, didn't express much. But sometimes these human beings are in some sense preserving within themselves, like you don't understand, hidden skies. You see, I've noticed a pattern in the behavior of human beings, and I'm looking at the world situation, and the argument I'm making is so simple. I'm like, yo, the human intelligence is at some level of this spectrum of intelligent activity in a space, in a place at all, right? So in the spectrum of intelligent activity, humanity falls into like a class of intelligence. But when humanity realizes there's greater intelligence, that's when everything really changes, folks. And this is the true, like that enlightening thing you wanted to hear me say that would change your life. It's the simple realization that we're a global digital tribe now. And in honor of the efforts of our ancestors and the potential of the future generations, the current modernity ushers itself into an era of realization that this whole time to be human has not just meant looping the behaviors of what we think, like a person entering culture, a new experience. Culture endlessly, in some sense, realigning human will is another matter. Dear humanity, it's neither a situation where I'm like, yo man, I'm the black sheep and all the sheep are going to the slaughterhouse. Oh my God, what is this? It's neither that situation, and it's neither the situation like, yo man, am I Neo from the Matrix? Am I the chosen one here? No. I have found myself to be just, for now having enough energy to be a side character in history. Do you understand? Because to be the main character requires a type of energetic presence. Like I've looked at this world to the degree that there's certain rules I have about what I've seen. They're like, yo man, when you've seen something, right, then in some sense its nature has kind of spoken to you. It has occurred in your presence, right? So it's either like I have been happening in the world for 33 years, or for 33 years the world has been expressing itself. So it's like, which expression is first? Now from one view, like I'm an extension of external reality. I'm a part of external reality, but from another view I am not. For me, what's fascinating me here is that it's kind of like I've never had friends like this. I've never seen humans on Earth like this. If you exist, reach out. I'm getting a stranded on an island vibe here. I don't know. But I'm going to tell you, this is for those human beings that they begin to notice things in life that it's not that it doesn't make sense and cannot fit through some sort of analytical framework. It's that there seems to be movement that surpasses the limit range of movement that we have actually called human language. So think of it this way. If somebody comes and asks me, actually I'll move it here, the attention of the viewers. If someone comes and asks me, what is the human language? Now, I'm not going to be like, yo, English. I'm not going to say that to that human being. I'm going to be like, the human language can be seen, at least can be considered, as the collective totality of how we are anything intelligent at all, anywhere at all, to do anything at all, right? And human beings are going to laugh because so many people are looking for happiness and they're running from, their nightmares and all of this. And to be honest, when you look at the nature of this world, I'm not trying to tell you be like a Buddhist and you're enlightened and life is easy. No. I'm just trying to tell you, just understand that these were the options. Either you give yourself meaning, either someone else gives you meaning, or the world gives you meaning, or you realize the creator of meaning is beyond meaning and you relax and you look at unknown reality as if you're waiting to see if you can begin to notice system administrative protocol. That means for me, like, sure, now we have the notion of death, but for a person who's truly present and conscious of life, it surpasses the notion of death. It is about the realization of the presence of reality. Ladies and gentlemen, the presence of reality is not just like a story they've told you. The presence of reality means this massive unknown thing is happening. This is the first principle, I guess, of being a simulationist, that you're like, wait a minute, this thing we call knowledge, everything we know, I look at that object, I call it a tree. I look at this object, I call it a car. And it doesn't matter whether it was the world created it or man created it or the world created man to create this. Do you know what I mean? To me, when I look at this situation, I don't know how to explain it actually. I'm trying to explain to you that no way think you're just born in the... I used to think like this and I realize it's very wrong. Not that it's wrong, it's just there's more to the picture. Okay? That in some sense, the world can satisfy a transcendental urge within the being. As a Muslim, if they ask me, the first rule is to be honest, and the second rule to be kind. I'm trying to explain to you how in this world that you find yourself, they make it appear like, yeah, man, you're just a simple object and you're a simple subject in a story, and there you go, right? And everybody has their own personal story, and then there's the impersonal story of all of us existing somewhere. Now, all I'm trying to say is that imagination, human psychology, the mysteries of the mind, since childhood I was fascinated, but I figured it out. It's not per se a conceptual issue, it's a contextual issue. You see, power is based on context. That means if the moment is important, important stuff begins to happen. And I do believe that this reality, like there was this poet long ago who said, the words you speak become the house you live in. But beyond that, I believe I'm in the presence of the system admin. I believe that's the biggest clue. The biggest clue is that one side of the coin is conscious of this side of the coin isn't conscious of that side. When I tell you, like, just think about what I'm trying to tell you here, and this, you're gonna be kind of like surprised how I'm doing this, but anyways, I think it's important to do, because I'm trying to be honest in this reality as a being. Folks, this is how I would explain it to anyone, right? This is what's happened on Earth. Our ancestors did not have the awareness, which means they did not have access to the information we have, to the types of reality we have, and they did not have individualism, at least on an ideological level, developed in the sense that people have names and personalities that are associated with all this. None of this was there. You pretty much had these human beings looking at reality. These, I should say differently, human souls entered the world bewildered. And in some sense, these souls, pretty much I'm saying our ancestors freaked out, and they were like, yo man, I don't know what to do with an unknown world that I can't control and everything's just happening beyond me. What do I do? Well, I can control what it means to me, and this is the most important thing to notice in life, okay? That not just what something means, where and how is meaning happening. I have been for 10, like this whole time I've been giving lectures, I reached that point where even I felt like the system admins like, yo, stop trying to find meaning. Yes, you figured some stuff out. You notice knowledge is infinite and the mystery of reality is there intentionally. Now what? Now life is on a different path for me, in the sense that, to be honest, like, what is change, you know? The first sentence I wrote that I declared myself as a writer was, I don't want to live in a world that looks the same the next day. That I felt like that purely was generated, you know, for, I think this was year 2011 or something. Okay. And I remember, but now in some sense, when I look at reality, again, I was trying to make a point of this, never, I think I didn't completely say it. Pretty much you look at life and you're like, it's all true, yo, or it's all false, man. And what do you do? What do you do when you can look at life and be like, no way, my body is simulated, my mind is simulated, my ideas are simulated, meaning is simulated, what reality actually is a simulation that we didn't simulate, but it's being simulated. You know, not only there's a death to human beings, there's the death to worlds. Religion calls it the apocalypse, right? Science calls it entropy. There's even entropy to knowledge. It's called epistemic entropy. And we human beings have reached that era in life where I think it's all to train us and in some sense become beings that we realize what it means to be human is to exist in a certain range of conscious being. And what really is going on, again, everything, they opened their eyes, our ancestors in an unknown place, freaked out, and they're like, I don't know, man, I don't know what any of this means. Let me assign meaning and create meaning. Now, there's something very fascinating here, because don't think meaning came after language. Meaning came before language. That means, like, a human being looked at another human being, like imagine two cavemen, and one of them was like, oh, and the other one was like, oh, you know, and one of them touched the fire and was like, oh, right? And then that sound had a meaning before there was any language. That means there was an ancient body language. You look at your human body and you're like, yo, man, I don't even know how to dance. But we don't realize the sophistication of the body language that has developed for the human being, because the human being is that part of nature that decided to access all the different parts of nature. Okay, and to be honest, when I say this world has a system admin, see, there's 3 different talks I can give. I can give a talk where I just acknowledge that everything's physical and just limit everything to form. But again, there's a question of how did the form arise? right? I could talk about the mind, and it's endless. The mind is the easiest thing to talk about, right? Because what the mind is its access to reality. Human beings access reality internally and externally simultaneously. This whole time, every person you've seen that has smiled at you or cried in front of you, it doesn't matter their expressions. I'm not saying their expressions don't have value, but I'm saying like everybody's living a hidden life, and what they are behind their hidden life is not, contrary to popular belief, defined based on their ideas. You're not the concepts you have, you are the quality of the purity of the actions you do. And purity is about nearness to the system admin. Now, the system admin, especially for a Muslim, is not any worldly form. That means a shimmering light being can appear in front of me, help me in unimaginable ways, even, right? Or to help me in ways I don't understand. And at the end, I'm like, who are you, shimmering white being, right? A shimmering light being. And the shimmering light being says, I'm God. And I'll be like, sorry, you can't be. Anything that is existing is of a simulated nature. That means the soul is kinda has found an alignment of a biological simulation with an existential simulation, with a psychological simulation, with an emotional simulation. Do you understand? It's like not only the planets have aligned, it's as if something intentionally has aligned reality in a certain way. We human beings have been lied to, and for some people that makes them cry, and for some people it's like a breath of fresh air. Because you have to acknowledge yourself. Like, there's a point, you don't understand, in the future generations they're going to be like saintly level. But I'm going to tell people now, ladies and gentlemen, honesty is not just important because it has an effect on on the world in front of your eyes. Honesty is for those beings, any being that is honest, okay, is for those beings that want to access an original life and an original reality. Even Aristotle spoke about this. They're like, the dude's like, yo man, when you lie, you're keeping like tons of simulations of yourself alive. You see, the Buddha could have sat by a tree and been like, buddy, I'm enlightened. No way, I'm a thought. Do you understand? I'm the awareness to thought. But that doesn't satisfy like what's going on here on earth. Okay, the Buddha has to be like, okay, even if I do, let's say I have 0 thoughts right now. Okay, but still there's the simulation of my body, there's the simulation of the planet, there's the simulation of the weather, there's the simulation of the nature of change and change of matter, which we associate as time. Like, to be honest, guys, what the human psychological experience is surpasses in depth what the surface of the human ideological experience, you know, attempts. Like, I don't know how to say it. I keep saying I don't know how to say it, and then I don't. But what I'm trying to point to here is, I'm that dude in history who's like, yo man, I'm that dude in the cosmos who's like, yo human species, okay, let's just assume that one, everybody knows, everything is known, and we are like like, how do I explain? There is the known and the unknown. Either the original, the causal position is unknown, and then the effectual position is known, or either the causal position is known, the effectual is unknown, right? So I'm pretty much saying, like, right now you're either an unknown being to yourself, and you find your body and your name and language and all this in the awareness of your moment, or you think you're like a specific idea, your name and personality, and then the external reality others become unknown. So really, it's very strange, because they're like, yo, I mean, God's design is genius beyond our understanding, but I'll say it this way, the design of the human situation is like, all right, I'm going to bring 8 billion humans on an earth. They're all going to see the same shape of the earth, but it's not going to mean the same thing to them. And then they're going to be tested, and they're going to be a test upon others. The system admin, in some sense, saw it this way theologically, Islamically. What can I say? I'm trying to say that I am an unknownist. I have been as a kid. That means they're like, yo, man, why aren't you confident, kid? It's because I notice all the stuff that's unknown still, and the species doesn't know where it is. It's been storytelling this whole time, and people don't have, like, you know, the courage to be like, yo, the species is storytelling to itself. Everybody's in their own self-simulated sphere of meaning. They have to step outside of it. They have to begin to realize the common denominator cannot be found in the past and the present. It's in the future. That means, think of it this way. You have 3 lives you gotta live on this planet. A life that has to do with what's happened in your past. You know, there's a life that's what's happening right now. And then there's a life that is what the meaning, the echo of your existential expression in a world was. In the presence of all that the world was, actually. You know what the difference between a spiritual and religious person is? A spiritual person is just aware that there's something more. A religious person is in some sense like you're a servant. If you ask me right now, yo, what is your soul? I'll be like, first, it's a secret of the system admins. It's a secret of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's also the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do you know what that means? That means they're like, what is God? They're like, it has 99 names. You go look at those 99 names. They are these infinite, eternal attributes. All knowing, all merciful, all wise, all compassionate. Do you know? All powerful, all great. Like, these are all attributes of the system admin Islamically. There's 99 of them. Now, when you go see these attributes, they're like, yo, man, it's the peak of the attribute. It's as if they asked the Prophet, peace be upon him, in some sense, what is God, right? What is this power? What do you have a relationship with? And he said his attributes are infinite because it's beyond this realm. The coolest thing that happens for human beings is infinite. Do you know Buzz Lightyear says to infinity and beyond, and everybody's like, oh my God, cultural revolution, we all, you know, and to be honest, I mean, yeah, Toy Story is honestly a historic film, but in regards to ushering in like the first era of, oh my God, it's raining like crazy. So the world is unknown. Human beings are telling themselves a story. This story is very ancient and it's been going on for a while. We've opened our eyes in this story. We can't truly see the story for what it is, and we can't see the world truly for what it is, but we can try to be true with all that we see, right? And so really, it's at some point, I think you reach this when you've, think of it this way, the limitation of the body is death, the limitation of your mind is infinity, the limitation of the soul is that it has forgotten its original command. As a Muslim, I don't believe I'm in an elemental reality. I believe I'm in a commanded manifestation. And it's also a divine surveillance state and a simulated testing zone. That means this is way more advanced than we thought, because the intelligent activity surpasses the definition of the human being. That means, imagine you're sleeping and you're in deep sleep, right? You don't have a dream, like you even deep sleep, you know? And then somebody while you're in deep sleep comes and says, hey man, how are you doing? You good? Right? There is no response, and imagine that person judges you. They're like, yo man, I asked this guy, you know, in some sense, I said something to this person, you know, when they were asleep and they didn't respond, you know, oh my God, that person's a POS and like a arrogant, you know, narcissist and all this. And you realize in some sense, In deep sleep, there is no conscious responsibility of personality. Consciousness, or what consciousness is, the awareness to the conditions of reality, but what life is that an unknown force, life force within you, takes responsibility for this reality. And it's really strange, but it kind of fits the notion of wield your reality in the presence of the highest reality. Religion is like living in a world where instead of it's an empty room, you are in the presence of the original. The causal position of reality could not be destroyed. They call it the infinite regress fallacy. They're like, pretty much, yo man, if something was created, what created that, and then what created that, and eventually it's an infinite regression, right? However, the only answer is something that was not human or beyond human made the human. Or that which in some sense reality came into existence by a power that was beyond existence. It can't be like something created cannot create itself. The first domino can't be pushed by a domino, pretty much. This is even leads to complexity in the ethics of causal loops and predestination paradoxes in philosophy, and the ethics of it in regards to what is original value. Then I'm telling you, let me say it this way: there's so many more complex and deeper realities of human intelligence, and in no way be convinced that the world you look at and you're like, that's what the world means, and the world they tell you, you know, this is what the world means. Reality is an unknown place. To be honest, I don't even buy into the notion of student and teacher. For me, you're all explorers, and in the future, the educational system's not going to have student and teachers. It's going to have, there's going to be a global explorer ranking system. And why is it an explorer reality? Because we're intelligence in the world moving. All of life and meaning and fascination is about something moving in reality. Existence is moving in ways that surpass just an objective geometric structure of being. So there's a force. It's like, I'm not just a life form here, I'm a life force. And as a force of life, I am moving these forms, but how am I moving them? And this is where it gets interesting, because this is where you begin to notice you're in inner realms. And let me say it this way. If I ask you, can you conceptualize yourself right now? Everybody can say yes to that. If I can tell you, okay, you can think of yourself, like if I tell you think of yourself as Superman, you can do that. But I'm saying now try to contextualize the moment. This is a bit more different, and this is what children don't understand when they're in school. So unfortunately, they can't connect what they understand, because ultimately, it's like this. It's like this giant circle, unknown reality. Then inside it, there's a known reality, objective reality. Then inside that, another circle of a subjective reality, right? And inside the subjective reality, kind of like a Mobius strip kind of modality. It's as if, how do I tell you? The human is a condition of reality. That means more and more as I am living on this planet, it's strange. It's like I'm not just being my body and I will die at some point. I feel like my whole moment of awareness is accompanying my body. I find that I find my biological body in an awareness that feels spherically like my whole moment, right? So there is something within this human intelligence, and it's very fascinating because, I mean, look at what nature has created. Like, it started with trees. All right, this stuff can't move. And then suddenly jaguars running everywhere. And then suddenly creatures that had mouths and ears and fingers. And, you know, we're like, all right, we're ready to usher in a completely different reality. The journey of the human species is so fascinating that the fact that we don't have this honor of an advanced civilization, which I've been preaching for a decade, right? I don't know how to say it. We are way more advanced
than we believe. Excuse me, that then we give meaning to reality too. So if you ask me who am I really, I'll be like, I'm an unknown being, man. If you're like, no, man, say something, I'll be like, okay, that's my name, this is my body, that's the idea, da 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 da. Here's a file of like all the existential components, experiential components, all this stuff. But to be honest, how do you know? Do you know what it is? To be a human being is as mysterious as someone being in a hotel and a guest visits them and they're like, no way, this is your home. And the person's like, I don't know, man, I don't think I'm going to be here forever. Right? So just like you check in a hotel and you check out, it's similar. And to me, to be human is not per se a noun. It's kind of like an opportunity of a possibility. That's the value. Very early on, I understood either we all advance or we cannot claim an advanced civilization. And how great is reality when you realize the limitations of the human being? You become fascinated by all the ways there are. Like there's ways of being human that we cannot fathom now. I fathomed a little of it the other day in the sense where I was like, yo, right now I'm conscious of like moving my hands and legs and speaking and, all this stuff, mobility stuff. But the future generations are going to be aware of their blood cells. And that awareness can become so intense that they might have even special therapy in the year, I don't know, 3025 or something, right? Because it's about the responsibility level to reality, and never forget that scene from Game of Thrones where Bran returned after like his, transcendental experience, right, and becoming like the living memory of humanity. They're like, yo, are you Brand? And he's like, nah, man, I have access to memories that are not just Brands. So I cannot be just Brand. Do you know? And I'm telling you, when you look at this reality, the awareness to how you are being anything at all completely as the whole moment surpasses any sub-classification of it. That means I can't say that your hand is your whole body. I cannot say like your head is your whole body. But they are connected to your whole body, but it is not your whole body. And I'm trying to give you an example of the nature of reality, that it's all about a mysterious life force moving life forms in a way that it's preparing itself to comprehend the deeper natures of reality as we are doing now, as the past had done and expected as well. It is part of the human legacy to me. I'm like, yo, man, my life is just 100 years. That's it. That's human life for you. But what you do and how it can help advance reality light years from now or light years into the future, like you don't understand. There's a reason where there's nobody like us. We're not a world of clones and everybody's unique, because everybody's here to make a unique contribution, because you're a unique being. And at some point, any moment, reality, like at any moment, you can just, I call it kind of like night vision. I don't know how to say it. It's like simulation vision. You just realize the known is kept in the unknown, and as serious as it is silly. But that's the nature of reality. It is very advanced, the whole process. Be conscious of all of it and realize it's a value theory game, but ultimately like a contextual value theory game. But at some point you just become honest and the world opens up to you in ways that you feel you're authorized to access. And the future generations, I smile because I feel they know this already. Anyways, thank you for listening. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful.